Page 94, Hosanna. This is in the key of G major, 1 sharp, 4/4 time. Fairly straightforward, it's got a few dotted rhythms. Let's look at the right hand. The first line's okay, it's all half notes, but start with the verse. It's the second measure, the second line there. It's 1 and 2. I'm doing 1 and 4 here, I'm in this position. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. We want to hear the top note. Bring it out if you can. Put a little more weight on the top note. 1, 2. Last line on page 94. 1 and 2 and 3 and second finger there. And then lift up and use second finger on the 8th notes there, the first one. And you're back to what you were doing originally. Yay team. Over on page 96 where the chorus comes in, it's the pickup to the second measure. You're here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Fortunately, the left hand's doing stuff so it'll help to keep the right hand patient as it's waiting to play its next note. Try again, bring out the top note if you can. Second line on page 96, 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and... And they say a 1-4, I say a 1-3. Just stay in there. Each time. Now, at the end of the second line there, where you're here, and then the G, second finger on the 8th note, and then for the next line, if you want to use third finger, that's fine, whichever. You got to lift up. It's the end of a phrase, so you can lift up and go up. And then you get that again at the bottom. The last 2 measures at the bottom, you're here. And then I recommend a 1-4, 2-5, and a 1-5. There. It's the top note we want to hear, but still, this fingering is a nice fingering that will serve you well in other pieces if you can get the hang of it. It's just the idea we don't want to be putting 1-5 on everything. We want to use there are more stable fingerings than that we can use. Now for the left hand, we're here at the beginning. It's just rhythm-wise, it's pretty straightforward till you get down to the bottom of the page on page 94. Then you get your dotted rhythm. Second measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Follow their fingering, it's fine. Top of page 95, 1 and. Look nice. In the thumb. Because now we're going to go down. Way down, and so forth. Fourth line down, second measure, you're here. 1 and 2 and. It's on the and of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And really that's about all it is for the left hand. I might mention on page 96 at the end, the last measure, you're here. I would recommend for that last chord, you can use 5-1 if you want, but I usually just this because I don't have to move as far. I can stretch out. If I do 5-1, the thumb's got to come all the way down here. You're moving further. It's your choice, but I recommend a 5-2 on that last chord. Then we put the hands together at the beginning. Not too bad, I hope. You're here. Watch their fingering. About all we're doing here. Sounds a little funky, but that's what it is. And then the verse starts. Now a little thing about music, and you'll get the hang of it. This isn't really piano music, but we'll do what we can. Bring out the melody, and the first part of this is introduction. There's no real melody here. You just kind of play it all the same. It's a chord sequence. We're just listening to the chords, and the rhythm is nice. It sets the mood. But when the verse starts, that note needs to be louder than any of this other stuff. That doesn't mean it's loud. All the other stuff should be softer. We want to hear the melody. And then the last measure of the page on page 94, there is no melody here. All of that is soft. Loud, like so. So bring out the melody if you can. If you have someone singing this, or if you're singing it, you don't need to bring out the melody. I'm talking piano solo here. There is a difference. If you're accompanying someone, let them have the melody. You don't need to play it real loud too. I mean, if you have someone who can't sing, don't know what they're doing, then you have to play the melody so they can hear it, so they can follow you, and that's unfortunate, because as an accompanist, you're supposed to follow them. But let them have the melody, in which case you play everything down. You don't bring out anything. There. I want to reiterate one minor thing about dealing with dotted rhythms. Over on page 94 in the second line, there where the verse starts here. Don't put a lot of emphasis on the 8th note. People will tend to do that. The emphasis goes on the next note, not the 8th note. So it's to hear, think to hear, to hear, to hear. So be careful on that. I've heard professional players not thinking about what they're doing, and they will emphasize the short note. Now, if it's jazz style or something, that's fine. That's part of the music. But for this kind of stuff, no, don't. I think this piece is really pretty straightforward. I don't have a lot to say. Dynamics, put in the dynamics after you get to know the piece, and you feel the dynamics. We will smooth it out with pedal. It's overlapping pedal, and for the most part we're just going to follow the harmony about every 2 beats. On most cases you're going to change the pedal every 2 beats, and the pedal lags behind the hands, so that play the notes first and then the note pedal every 2 beats, gently. Again, every 2 beats. These measures, like the 3rd line down, last measure, you can pedal the whole measure there. You don't need to change it. And also in the last line, 2nd measure, you can pedal the whole measure here. And then the next measure. And then we're back to every 2 beats again. And this goes on and on and on and on for quite a while. Measure here, the whole measure, and on the 3rd line down, 2nd measure, this is page 95, I don't pedal the 4th beat. So it's those starting with the 1st measure, the 3rd line, it's here. See there? Not the 4th beat. Going on. I don't pedal the 4th beat of the next measure either. 4th line down, 1st measure, I don't pedal the 4th beat there either. Now in the next measure, follow the chords in the left hand. You don't have to change the pedal on the 4th beat because it's the same chord, and then change it for the next measure. And again, not the 4th beat on the next few measures. Page 96. And don't pedal the fourth beat on the first measure. And then here it's pretty much the whole measure unless I'm changing the chord or the harmony. It's second measure. Now in the second line, second measure, every 2 beats here. Same thing with the last measure, the second line. And the third line down, first measure, don't pedal the last beat because the left hand has a rest here. 3. Third line down, last measure, every 2 beats. Fourth line down, the whole measure on the first one. Then every 2 beats on the next one. And then every 2 beats on the next measure. Then last line, every 2 beats. And the second ending, the last 2 measures there, it's here. Now pedal each quarter note because we're slowing down. And then at the end, the pedal and the hands come up at the same time. I went through that kind of quickly, but you can watch it more than once. I'm not changing the pedal anymore, and I have to. I'm just getting rid of some of the blurriness. Now I'd like to play this through slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. But I'm not going to do the repeats over on page 96. So I'm just going to play page 96 straight through. It'll sound a little weird, but that's all right. So I'll do pages 94 and 95, and then I'm going to stop, turn the page, and then do page 96. I'll give us 4 counts. If you want to play along, go ahead. It'll give you a chance to double check your notes and your rhythms to make sure those are correct. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, and 2. on to the next measure. 1, 2,